All righty. Here we are. It is Tuesday, and there's interesting stuff coming out today. And this is Doc from North America. It is good morning, good afternoon, and good evening because it's 7:32 in the United States, on the East Coast here, and it is 9:32 in Tokyo in the evening. So it's morning and night. So let's take a look and see. But we have some interesting stuff. I think Powell speaks today, the Federal Reserve Chair. And they say the positions have been set up for a bullish move and a sell-off on the dollar. So we'll see how that plays out. We have the dollar index there on your left. And you can see on Chicago Quant on the right. And it's trying to lift up. There's no doubt about that. And then I think President Biden has his address to the nation. That could be entertaining. I won't pay attention to it. I can always read it because I can't take the stumble and the bumble type of stuff that goes on. He may introduce the vice president as the president or the speaker as the president. Who knows? He says all kinds of strange things. So I try not to. It's easier to read what he says than to actually listen to what he says. So we'll just go from there. All right. So let's get rolling. Oh, let me check the chat line too. Let me turn that on. And see if anybody has stopped in to say hi. Will you be my friend? It's like Mr. Rogers of trading. Right there. Okay. That'll spill out in a few seconds. There we go. Live trading with Doc. Cool. And I don't see anything on the chat line yet. Oh, there we go. I do see it. Robin there. Randy. Hey, Randy. What's cooking? Janos, what do you expect from Powell? They say that the positions are being lined up. And I'm glad you're here, too. Because I saw an article. I was talking with Robin about it yesterday. I saw this article on Saturday or Sunday. It was in Zero Hedge. And it was about zero. They called it zero, with the number zero, the day option expiration, day trading expiration, DTE or something like that. And they made a case about the volatility index, and you had brought that up a couple of weeks ago, the volatility index. Merlin Medic, I like that. Merlin, that's a goodie. Hassan, very cool. Hello, guys, gals, and everybody around. So it was a really good article about. I know this kind of leads away from the Powell conversation for a second. It's just a few seconds, because it's all part of it. And they broke records on Thursday of last week of all-time highs in option trading. And I should have given an option warning there. So anybody who gets scared about listening about options and the modern tool that made the market what it is today, you can lower the volume in 3 seconds. 1, 1.5, 2, and 3. So now we're going to talk about options. Delicious. What's delicious? The tea is delicious, that's for sure. Ooh, I think I'll have another one. It is because it has my oils in it. It has honey in it. Yes, tea. So Powell is going to speak, and supposedly what he's possibly going to say is going to have some positive impact on the stock market and negative impact on the currency, on the dollar. We'll see how that goes. Probably why they've been pushing it down so they can take it up. We always used to say on the trading floor, if you want to take it up, you got to first take it down. This way you can buy it cheaper to sell it higher, and vice versa. Take it up, rally it up, so you can sell it. Get the buyers to come in so you can sell it to them, and then you take it down. Hey, Metho. So anyway, there's this conversation or this article about daily options. So then I called. I got a couple friends. One worked for Citadel at one time. He was I guess an associate partner or whatever. And we were partners a long time ago. And then when the trading group kind of closed itself down after all those fun years, the one of them went off to work for Citadel, and another one opened up an operation at the Amex and so forth and so on. And so I called him yesterday to find out what he had heard, because they have opened up an exchange in Miami, a market making exchange. So I figured that he'd be closest to the source. He's not part of the exchange, because he's like much older than I am. So he just fishes and trades every day. And it's one or the other. More trading than fishing, or fishing than trading on a given day. But in the end result is that the zero options, in other words, the options expire at the end of the day. You buy them in the morning, and you trade them in the morning, and they expire in the afternoon. And it's kind of a way of probably skirting around the tax laws and not exercising into, in other words, when you make trades, you have to think about the tax laws too at the same time, so that you don't get taxed an extra 3 or 4% on your earnings. And so combine that together, and what they did is they made a case about volatility. Okay, that's why I'm bringing it up. And Janos had brought up the question about volatility, a couple of days ago or a week ago. I have heard that the opposite Powell would reiterate that hikes are still on the table. Yeah, he needs to say something like that. But I think he has to say more to scare the market, because the market has so much equity in it, and there's so many undervalued funds. Remember, a lot of this money that's in the market, first of all, the Federal Reserve slides free money to them overnight, so they're very stable. So they can make a quarter percentage point or an eighth of a percentage point. When you're making an eighth of a percentage point on $1 billion, after a couple of weeks, that really builds up. You start to really build a pile of cash there. At the same time, a lot of funds are underinvested, and they're paid to be invested. And so when they've made the decision to be underinvested, they thought the world was coming to an end. And the bond market was trying to tell them no. This is becoming a long, expansive conversation here. But in the end result is that Powell's going to be saying something interesting today. Was it Jojo the monkey is speaking tonight in front of Congress? That could be very entertaining. He'll be swinging from something from where to where, and I'll wait for the transcript. And then you have these zero options are really starting to take it. Now we go to the I guess where you say the rubber meets the road. We're going to talk about facts. And that is these zero options are working around the VIX. And they're not using the VIX on the options that measures the VIX, that defines VIX. So in other words, they take, okay, I'm going to start talking about options again a little bit here. And I'm sorry I'm using those foul words that scare people. But they take two options, a call and a put, at the money, or a straddle. They price that. They price two out of the monies, a call and a put, that are way out of money, so that it's less valuable. And then they take two more. I think they're in the money, not just straddled, but in the money. Okay, so they do the six options. They use that for the VIX of the spider, the S&P 500. They use that concept on everything, on the index itself, and so what they're saying is that these zero options are starting to interfere in the calculation, because money is not running towards those particular options for hedging, and institutions are not doing that anymore. They're using these dailies because they have so much money that they can afford to lose $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 in just the daily option, and not risk. When you're hedging a couple $1 billion, you're talking about maybe $40-50 million that you're using to do it with. And if you can buy that same thing for $30,000 or $40,000 on a day-to-day basis when you need it, that takes the calculation of calculating the VIX, okay, or the volatility in any product. And so that's what, hey, Green Planet, Yo, yo, yo! Green lives matter. So yeah, that's what the article really said to me. What's this? Media says, let's see, wants to see XPD commodity used USD and please the palladium. Sure, we got a client that's following palladium, so I can put that up there. Let's take a look at it. And let me just say what Green Planet says. It says dollar index is currently hitting value trading levels, possibly downturn later today. Exactly. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking that the dollar is going to drop from the PAL news. So we'll see. Combination of all of it there. So let's throw up the palladium over on Chicago Quant right there. And there's palladium this morning. Right there. You see it's been in a sell for a couple of days, sliding down. Been in a weekly sell for a couple of weeks here. And you can see since was that the 1670s, 1680s, 1696 high right there on that day. It's put some pressure on it, like right there. You can see that. That's the palladium. And then, what was the other one? The other one was commodity. XPD. Commodity. XPD. All right, let's go find it. XPD commodity USD. All right, let's try that. XPD. What is XPD? That sounds familiar. Let me go look and see what I can find about that. XPD pd.com/USD. Let's see what that says. Is listed for sale. What is it listed for sale? Inquire now on xpd.com. Can be yours today. What is that? All right. I don't know what that is, but XPD sounds familiar. XPD. What's that? It's a domain. That's what it is. Okay, that's a domain. Oh, XPD is palladium. Okay, that makes sense. Something dinging over here. What's dinging? Oh, let's see what all the dinging's all about. I'm getting texted by somebody. U.S. corporation. Okay. There we go. Someone's very hepped up on the bricks with me all the time. They're always talking to me about that. It's palladium. Okay, so there's the palladium up on the screen. You can see that. Make it very big like that. There you go. It's been an interesting product. It goes into the sell off of this little slide here on the weekly sell. You can see that right there. It can be moved back one even like that. And you can see we get, let's see, let's grab that. Let's steal that. And then it goes into the daily sell right there off of this top and slides down. It seems like an okay product, to follow with our mathematics. And then you got the slide right there. That one doesn't seem to do anything right. That actually gives up a few, you lose a little bit from that one. You get the buy signal, which is not worth a buy signal, of course, because we're in a weekly sell here. You see that. And then there's the buy still because it's a green dot. And then it jumps up and then stays flat. And it goes into a sell right there. Move that line back. And it gets back into the buy right there. This is the one that really surprised me is how far off course it was. But then it was back into the buy. So it wasn't bad. It climbed up and then went into the sell here again. And then and it's in the sell there. So it's a winner chicken dinner in the end. But not a lot. Just enough to compensate for what you gave up there. So the real wins have been like right here. And not there really. Not at all there. So this has been a real sloppy product. But it does seem to be making money, but not the best of the best, Palladium, it's one of those minerals or metals that I think they charge by the pound, right? So it's like $1,600 a pound or $1,700 a pound. So it's kind of interesting. I hope that did it for you. .com. Okay. Okay. So how's that, Metho? Does that make any sense to you? It's an interesting product. I thought that this part right here was interesting in the sense that it gets into the buy here. It's a sloppy, choppy but then look at the range. It's a $200 range, so that's not too bad. You should be able to get some money out of it, I'm always amazed when I save the chart and send it out, how much the action's in it. It's cheap now. Is that what it is? Okay. Didn't it get up to like 3,000 or 2? Didn't it go even higher than gold? But that's an ounce? That's not a pound? So the palladium is actually trading better than gold? Huh. Wonder what the open interest is in it. Let's take a look at the open interest in that. Right there. And trading right there. And they've got the open interest in that product right there. Oh, it's anemic. It's almost like non-existent. 8,800 contracts in the March contract, 3,400 contracts in the June contract. So, and volume in June was 99 contracts trading. I'm just talking about the open interest with 3,400 open interest. 674 contracts traded in March yesterday with 8,800 open interest. Wow. That is something. What do they use? That's wild. Let me just tell them I'm on webinar. So, yeah, I guess. Wow, I thought it was a pound. I thought it was like copper. It's like copper go wild. That's the way I looked at it. Copper's gone wild. It's palladium. What else do we got to say about any of this? I guess that's about it. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. Like I said, JoJo is going to be jumping around in front of everybody, like usual. And then you got Powell beforehand. When I heard the combination a couple days ago, I thought to myself, wow, is JoJo going to help Biden? He'll do something that will be able to take Biden out of the news for the day so that no one can talk about the issues that he has. The majority of Democrat registered voters now don't want Joe Biden to run for president. So, you just sit there and scratch your head about all the conspiracy stuff over the last 2 years. When you have a sitting president and their party doesn't want you to run for re-election, and only like 41% are happy with him in general on what he's been doing, you really just gotta shake your head at it all. How real is what we're looking at? What is this? They need fuel cells. I'm not a big fan of. Is that what they are? They're part of the fuel cell process. Fuel cells are hydrogen. It's awful hard to store hydrogen. Yeah. I mean, energy. Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only can be transferred. You have potential energy. There is no such thing as free energy. I'm sorry, not free. Renewable energy. Photonic power. In other words, solar collectors and so forth take lots of money and time. By the time you build the device, it doesn't pay to use the device. You lose money on it. In other words, you'd be better off just taking a couple pieces of wood and creating some hot boiling water and a steam engine to generate a pulley system. That's. It always confuses me why people throw away Sir Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein and Maxwell and Faraday and Ohm and Volt and all these previous scientists that proved all the things I just said for some type of idea that thinks that they can get energy for a renewable energy that will power them, for whatever they wish to have. So I'm always confused by all that stuff. No such thing as a free lunch. Thank you. Yeah, that's about basically what I guess I was trying to say in English. You're right. I'm so comfortable with all those names, so I can just rail them off. Ohm and Volt and Maxwell, who get ridiculed by the modern science nowadays. Without their mathematics and their discoveries and their development of these things, we would not have cell phones and TVs and electric lights and, just all the basic things floating around, armatures to power electric cars and, so on and so forth. So it always blows my mind. But yes, you are totally right, Green. You are totally right. It's like there is no such thing as a free lunch, and how does an SUV have an influence over the whole solar system is boggling to my mind. Why did SUVs rip like a third of the atmosphere off of Pluto in just the last 4 years? Why did it reverse the winds on Jupiter and Saturn over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years? 3 years now, 2 years. And why is Neptune and Uranus in ice ages now over the last 3 years? The SUV really has that much power in Detroit. It really surprises me all the time. Little Earth. Oh, I'll tell you. Here you go. This is the thing that really amazes me. Okay, I'm going to put a picture up on the screen, and it'll say it all. And it blows my mind that we done something wrong there. Let's see. Copy that. Let's save that image. I'm going to put it on my desktop, and then we can blow it up. Save. There we go. All right, now. There we go. Let's put this over on the screen for a second there. That is the largest sun we've ever seen right there. Right there, yeah, you can see the mouse. There's Betelgeuse. Everybody knows it from the movie, of course. It's in the Orion constellation. Then there's Rigel and a few of these others. And there's our sun right there. Now, you've all seen the size of the sun compared to Earth. The Earth, it looks like the sun in this, and the largest sun, Antares, is, or even just Betelgeuse, looks like Earth. That's the relationship between the size of Earth to our sun. And then you look at our sun and look at this. Look at the massive size of that. So I don't know why they think that SUVs could have an influence over all that stuff. I just don't get it. But that's me. What about ether energy? Now that's a whole different conversation. Oh, geez, you just opened the door, didn't you? You just had to open the door, didn't you? You just had to. All right, Fermi Labs. Let me just show you what happened over the last 48 hours out at Enrico's. Enrico Fermi, right? He was one of the scientists on the Manhattan Project. He's famously known, of course, in our times would be, for betting. He lined up all these bets that the atmosphere would catch on fire. And all the other scientists were so scared that they wouldn't take the bet. Now, think about it. In other words, if it did, he wouldn't have to pay anybody. So he was getting paid all this money. And I think a couple scientists gave him money. But no one would take the bet because they were so scared that when they set off the first atomic bomb, that the atmosphere might catch on fire. And so he was making all these bets because you got to figure if the atmosphere caught on fire, he's not going to be around to be able to pay off the bet. So Enrique Fermi, when I got my apartment in Chicago, when I went out there to trade, my apartment was on the 29th floor, and I could see the Fermi Labs out towards Geneva. And so they just came out with something about 2 days ago that actually, let me see if I can find that. This is turning into crazy doc day, isn't it? I guess that's because JoJo the monkey's speaking tonight. So it's just instigating, and then Mr. Powell's doing something. So I guess it's just my job to make it even crazier. Enrico, the Fermi Labs came out with, they fired a laser at muons, and they did it in a certain way, and it actually reflected the double slit experiment with electrons. So now you're seeing ether influencing on an atomic level. So yes, Merlin, yes, you're right. Matter of fact, let me put that on the screen, and then by then everybody will probably tune out of the webinar altogether. And then we'll get moving along again on the currencies. Let's see, where are we at here? I'm trying to figure out which mouse it is. Okay, so there we go. Let's just shrink this down. There's the dollar again, just reminding everybody, this is a currency webinar that Doc is just drifting into the outer atmosphere on. Let's see, where is that at? I'm going to show you that article. It's very fascinating, and then you all can chase it down, you know. But it's a good article, and it justifies what Merlin is talking about. You know, that you're getting the refraction pattern that we get on the double slit experiment with electrons, which are, you know, makes your light bulbs work and so forth. Everybody sees electrons. Electrons are, you know, just the little sparks here and there. There it is. Okay, let's move that over. There we are. And there it is right there. That's the refraction pattern they're getting out of it. And there's the article right there. It's in Physics Boy. This has never happened before. It says scientists at the Brookhaven National Laboratory have reported, you know, that, and it was out at the Fermi Labs that invented this. Why am I saying Brookhaven? Where's the Fermi article? I got deeper into it, and it came out of Fermi Lab to begin with, because Brookhaven's out this way, and so maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't Fermi Lab. Maybe it was just Brookhaven. Okay, so there it is right there. There's the article. And what it did, it took charged pions with a laser, and it actually generated the same thing. So you've gone deep now into the atomic level, and you're actually seeing an ether again. That's what it really is all about in the end. So, all right, back to the currencies. Everybody, back onto the bus. All right, let's go to where are we at? Oh, let's look at the euro. Let's take a look at the euro. The euro is being pressed down here. There's the currency. It will not be named. There's the euro. You can see here, we went into that cell. I guess we should make this small now. I forget why I had it expanded. But now we could expand that one. Like that. There we go. And so we went into the cell here a couple of days ago. And that pressure's been on the euro. Again, I always take the attitude, they got to take them down so they can take them up. That's usually the way it really rolls. 120 years ago was a scientist that was amazing, and he started the work, but suddenly all things disappear. Oh, Mr. Tesla you're talking about. Yeah, he was big on static electricity. Well, if you get into the electric universe and so forth, you know, in Maxwell and Ohm and, you know, Volt and everybody else and Faraday, then, yeah, I mean, Tesla's right in there with the rest of them. You know, so they look at electricity and energy and plasma more realistic than modern science does. And NASA and PPL, you know, Princeton Propulsion Plasma Lab, and JPL, you know, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory out there in Livermore, they're all now looking at plasma the same way. They just won't call it, you know, electric. They'd call it plasma. So. What's Merlin saying? Merlin's saying Tesla, no. Oh, another guy. I think 120 years ago. Let's see, what year are we in now? So that'd be like the turn of the century. Yeah, I think wasn't his birthday like 2 days ago or something like that? Oh, that big guy says AUD, you know, remember, we're having a problem with AUD. Let's see if we can get it up on the screen today. I'm not sure why, but the clearinghouse is not giving me AUD, everything else but AUD. Like there is the Aussie against the Canadian, and you can see it's been in the sell for 3 days here, but still hanging in the weekly buy by the hair of its chinny chin. And then I'm getting also the yen with no problem. Like that. And then you can see that's been in a sell for, what's that, 5-6 days? 4, 5, 6, 7 days. This is the 7th day. But it's in a weekly buy still, so you can't take it too serious. And then let's try this one right here. Let's try putting the dollar, the Aussie dollar in there. And it just doesn't want to do it, and I'm not sure why. Because I've tried a couple different things. They must have changed the symbol, and I keep on saying I'm going to call them, and I never do. And there it is. Here comes you'll see it here, kick in right there. Seeing nothing. It says cash. What does it say here? It says it doesn't kick out. There's no. Let me try this. Let me try to put that in the bottom too on the weekly. But we're not getting that, and I'm not sure why. We'll put it up over on J4X too. Is there a dot missing or something? I can't figure out why. It's in the added, and it just doesn't come up. And I don't understand why. And they still call it the USD, right? So yeah, I can't get it on the screen. It won't feed in. Now let's go over and look at it on J4X. Because the last I saw on J4X, it's something like, there it is right there. It's something like 70. Okay, it's down. Okay, so it's fallen down from 71 and change down to 69. You can see it's topping out right here. Let's show you that full screen there like that. You can see that's topping out, and that pressure's on it. But we're not really seeing. It's had was it 70? Got to 71 to the dollar from 60 some thought. So it it was losing against the dollar, right? Yeah. There's more Australian dollars. So that means it's like an inflation thing going on there. So the best I can do is I can give you the Canadian on our work right there. But there you can see it on the J4X on the weekly. That's the weekly. And then here's the daily of it on J4X right there. But over here, all I can do is give you that for whatever reason. I got to call them. Timothy! What's happening, Timothy? Let's see. Merlin, 1888 to 1900. He was only 20 years old. That sounds like somebody I read about. I'm trying to think who that is. Died like when he was 23 or something like that. He was a real decent scientist. Hey, Doc, AM watching cable on 1 minute for buys, no entries yet. How's it looking? Oh, let's take a look at it. Let's see. Go over here. There's that palladium again. That's cool. And then, let's see. Let's give you a 1 minute on the cable. So we'll go like this. There. Make a copy of that. Right there. And then paste that. And we'll take a look. There we are. Now let's put the correct product in there, and that's the S&Ps trading live. If I can get a hold of my mouse again, there it is. Now let's put cable in there. I saw somebody say something out of the Bank of England this morning, talking about they need to convert to cryptos or something. It was the weirdest thing. I have a hard time believing GBP. I have a hard time believing that anybody is willing to give up sovereignty, except for you have to be in a real desperate situation, like some of the South American countries that have done that. They've given up their sovereignty to cryptos because, let's see, contracts. There it is. Let's do this. Minutes. They give up their sovereignty of currency solely because their currencies are worthless and they're tied to the dollar, and they thought that maybe being tied to the crypto would be better or something like that. But that didn't seem to work out for some of those countries. There you go. There's your 1 minute. You can see here we went into the sell right there. Let's put a line up on there. We'll make it yellow so we can identify it around. See what's going on. There we go. And it's still in the sell, but it is trying to lift here, but it's going to have to do some work. So I went into the sell at, what is that, the 1985 area. And now it's traded as low as this last bar to 119.78? 70? Was it 78? Yeah. And now they're climbing. And look at this. It's trying to turn into the buy here over this next minute. If it gets into if it settles here, let's widen this out for you so you can see it better. So you see right here, it's doing that. And this is above. Everything's above the zero line here. So it's trying to turn back up again. There was the last buy, right? So you can get a hold of that. There was the last buy right there. It didn't really do too much. Just went up there a little bit, bounced around, gave up some, went back up again. and then it pushed itself into the sell right there. So, and then there was the last buy there. Was the buys have been tough. And then when we go look at the daily, let's look at the daily of that. I think it's been in a daily sell now for like 7 days. Yeah, it's been in the daily sell since up in here. So what's that? 3 right there. There's another 3. This is the 7th day in a sell. And went into the weekly sell last week. So cable seems to be a little weak here. But someone out of the Bank of England came out with an article in Zero Hedge this morning, or somewhere I was reading. They were talking about they think they had to start considering switching from the British pound to crypto. And I'm thinking to myself, wow. You don't, I mean, I like crypto. I see crypto as an alternative asset. But I wouldn't, I can't imagine a country that has a decent economy and a currency willing to throw away their currency for crypto. That would be really surprising to me, because I don't think it does. I don't think it's really a currency as much as it's a fantastic new vehicle for being an asset. It's like the anti-Federal Reserve or anti-central bank currency. That's what it is. If you want to consider it a currency, it's the anti-central bank alternative. So, if dollar decides to fall, then watch GBP more north. Yeah, I'm more bullish on cable. I'm a little surprised it got into the weekly sell and it doesn't. But look how tight it is. I would think that the cable will find a way to bottom out in here. Let's just take a look at it up on J4X too, and just take a look at what it's been doing for the last couple months. It's been climbing pretty well. I mean, it made some really super duper lows. And let's see, where are you, cable? GBP, right there. There it is. And when you look at it, compared to here, and we can tighten this up and so forth. But I mean, the cable has made a wonderful run from that. What is that? The 103 area. I mean, honestly. I mean, it's a pretty good move. I mean, how much can you want out of your currency when you go from 103 to 120 something? I mean, believe me, I bet they would love that in Turkey. They would definitely take it any day of the week. And then when you look at it here on J4X, the same thing. Look at that nice run. I mean, what does that say? 102 something or 103 right there. So I mean, that's a heck of a run. It should be digesting. It should be like, plateauing out in here. And it does. It looks like a reverse head and shoulders. So, I mean, this is the head. These are the two shoulders. And you would assume that it's going to find a way to take out these highs or even these highs over the next, 6 months to a year, you would think. That's what I would think. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that, and the math seems to say it too. I mean, we're more in a weekly buy most of the time in this product than not. And even when it does go into the sell, look at this, like right here on Chicago Quant. You can see here, which is a good example of the actuality of it all. It's not taking out this low yet. Last time it went into a sell right there, it slid down to that low and then found a way to make a new high. And now, the weekly buy didn't do too good. It didn't do too bad a job. I mean, it went into the weekly buy right at the bottom there and climbed. And we were in a weekly buy like halfway through that. But, I can see that drift. And again, I think that's more policy than anything else and interest rates. So, what we're probably going to see, I mean, they've been raising the rates correctly the way they should. And it should put more juice into the cable. But it has not, which is a little surprising. But then again, that must be policy. They must be doing something policy-wise that makes no sense. Yeah, so there's the. Oh, let's go back to the 1 minute chart again. There it is, right there. Yeah, that's it. So it popped up, and we're still got this tail. So we really need, or did it go through it already? Oh, I guess it did. It went into it there and already rolled over. That's what it is. So it rolled over, it jumped into it, and it failed. It just failed and rolled back down again, right there. And it's not, that's why I'm not a big fan of 1 minute charts. I think 3-minute charts are much more healthier. Let's see what a 3-minute chart looks like and more accuracy. Now you can see here, there's a good spot where it goes into the sell. And it does slide down. And then it goes into the buy here, and at least it tries. And it goes into a sell, and it slides down again. And it goes into a buy here, and now it becomes anemic. Let's see what a 3-minute chart looks like. I've always, if I'm going to trust anything, I don't know why, it's threes. I'm like Tesla. I like the threes and the sixes and the nines, you know. And so, in a 3-minute, at least it made a little bit more sense. Went into the sell there. That made sense. Went into the buy there. That made sense. That's the only time frame I'll pay attention to is a 3-minute. After that, it's all spatial to me. You know, it has to be ticks or contracts when making bars. That was a winner chicken dinner too. And so I really do, like there, you can see this. It failed to that and then just came back, you know, to there and then finally got in it. So this was like really tough. Now this is like really winner chicken dinner there. Caught that whole ride. So yeah, I kind of lean into the 3-minute more than 1 minute when I'm using fixed time. You know, short-term intraday trading. But you know, if I'm like at a hotel and I'm not screen sharing into my machine or I'm somewhere, you know, and I can only look at like, you know, some type of intraday thing, I'll go to a 3-minute chart just to look to see what it's doing. But you know, 9.9 out of 10 times, I'm always going to be using my spatial math. So I hope that helped you out. All right, now where are we at now from there? So we just did cable, and cable does look very bullish in the long term, really does. Let's jump over to Swiss, and there's the Swiss. And that's the daily, and you can see it's been lifting up the last couple of days, losing against the dollar, but nothing major. Over here on Chicano, if I can get the mouse to work right. Oh, there it is, right there, like that. There we are. Right. Let's try the currencies. There we are. And then we go to right there. There's the Swiss. Not really going anywhere. And now look at it. It's flirting with the weekly sell now, which is very bullish for the Swiss, of course. You know, I mean, Swiss goes down. You know, I mean, it's a you know, profitable thing for the people who live there. So Swiss has been looking pretty good. It was funny that it jumped into that buy. It had to do some type of dead cat bounce, you know. I mean, we went into the weekly sell here on this week where it was up in this area. So, I mean, you know, it's about time it got into a weekly buy, you know, some type of dead cat bounce, something. You got to take a profit sometime, somewhere. Something's got to pay for the cigars. All right. Then from there, let's see, where do we go from there? Let's go to the yen. The yen, you know, another one of those. It's been very firm like the Swiss the last couple of days. You see that there, you know, jacking up. Let's turn that off like that. There we are. Ooh. Now, how did that end up in there? Let's remove that and put it where it belongs. Right there. Closed in the weekly buy on Friday. Did it close in the weekly buy? Yeah, it closed in the weekly buy on Friday. Right there. Just like the way the Swiss did it. You know, they both did it together. So they're both, and they both have had that wonderful move, you know, from topping out back in here. You know, the yen topped out, and we can make this thing go to the top. There we are. So we go into the weekly sell here, and it, you know, it's a heck of a run from the 140s, the high mid 140s, all the way down to 29, 28, 128. So it's got also, you know, it's time for them to take some profits somewhere. You would assume they'd be taking profits all the way down too. Let's see what else we got going on here. Anybody want to see anything else? And we can drift over to that 3-minute again too. There is the 3-minute. We're still in the sell from there, and then we could throw the 1-minute in there for you. See, I like that better. It smooths it out more. And here's your 1-minute. Oh, 1 minute. There it is. And we are in the sell from right there. It's kind of stumbling and bumbling along, doing its thing. All right, from there we go over to the Turkish lira. I see that went into a daily sell for a couple days. I think it's still in the weekly buy, though. Let's put it up over here. Again, we've got to go like that. There we are. There we are. There we are. Right there. There's Turkish lira. It's been in the sell for a couple days now. Let's widen that out. Right there. So it's been in the sell for, this is the third day, but the weekly is holding on. Matter of fact, where's the zero line? The zero line is like right there. So it's, you know, just on the edge. You can see the fast moving algorithm has dropped underneath last week, reflecting this weakness that was there. So that was cool. That's why we keep that little dotted line on there. And then let's see, where do we go? Let's go to J4X and see what it looks like on there. Euro on the wall. Right there. Trading in the, what is that? That's not it. That's the bond. That's the bond. The bond. There's that. And there is that. Is that it? No, that's the bond again. Why am I having a problem with this? There it is right there. Okay. So it's trading at the 20s. All-time high now is like 20.70 or something like that. So that product is really feeling, you know, a lot of pressure there. What else is new? All right, from there we slide over to the two currencies that we've been really disappointed in. Canadian and the South African rand just don't match up to what we usually like to see. So we've been sad. Me so sad. Me and Jar Jar Biggs. Me so sad. And you can see here, you know, it went into the buy. There's the Canadian, as we said, you know, it's in the buy for 3 days now. And it's trying to get through the zero line. It's right on that edge of the zero line right there. You can see it's just underneath it. And then we take a look at crude oil. Let's put that up over here. Let's see. Right there, we'll put it up on there. Or maybe what we'll do is we'll put the Canadian up on there. And then we go the other way and we'll put it over on Chicago Quant. It's a little bit more clear with the light sweet. So there's the Canadian on a daily basis. And it's bouncing up. And more than likely that means that crude oil has been heading down. So we go over to here and we go like that. And then, oh, there's your 1 minute again. You can see that. Still dancing on the south side of things. And let's take a look at crude oil. And there's crude. And you can see there, since we're chewing through time, I think I'll mention, we'll take a look at the other crude contract too, the back month. So you can see here it's trading at 75.19. As it's, I guess that bounce up, which is odd, you know, because I mean in the sense that when the Canadian, you can see the Canadian right here has been losing value against the dollar. Normally that's when crude oil goes down. So it's doing the right thing these last 3 days. And then now we're starting to do a little bounce up, and you would assume that the Canadian would be minus for the day. So let's just take a look at, you know, at real quick right there. And it is. It's lower than yesterday. You know, Canadian is lower. It's trying to come down, but it's still, you know, there's buyers in there. Let's put it that way. Oh, let's see. Big guy says, let's have Jojo Binks here tomorrow so he can tell us when we are losing money. Me so sad. Yes, me too. Not counting knowing that Jojo Biden is going to be yakking away, you know, tonight. It's like, oh my God. And the media will love him. They'll think he's a genius. Oh my God. No wonder I have to read it from the transcript. I can't. I want to just puke. Ugh. Listening to stupidity. I heard he said that 1.5% inflation is worse than 6% inflation. That's what he said the last couple of days. It's like he said, you know, 1.5% inflation was really bad, but now we have 6% inflation. It's because of good policies. Guy's whack. He is whack in the head. He lives near me. He's a very strange guy. Very strange guy. All right. Let's see. You would think, being president of the United States, he would stay the hell away from us more, but he's here more than he is in Washington. That's the weirdest thing of all. Let's go to the South African rand. Let's see what the rand is doing. And we'll see what gold and so forth. Oh, and let me just take one quick thing before I do that. Let's take a look at the back month. So there's March crude at 75.15. I'm assuming that the back month is probably at like 70, 75, 60 or 70. So there it is there, the May contract. 76. Okay, 75, 76. So it's a 61 cent carry over. So that's not too bad. It's 61 cents premium just for the 2 months. Now let's take a look at gold. And there's gold. You see gold's just kind of hesitating. It's got no push. Fourth day in a sell. Here's the South African rand. Where's the rand at? Right there. There it is. There's the South African rand. It's been jumping up as gold has been going down. That's usually the way it works. When one does one thing, the other one does... Let's move this over a little bit more like that. There we go. When one does one thing, the other one does the other. I guess I can move it a little bit better like that. There we are. So, gold's been falling right here for the last 4 or 5 days. And the rand has been moving up, which is relatively normal. And I bet we're through that top end of the range that we've been talking about now here since 2 months now, I guess it is. Let's see. There it is right there. Yeah, it's busted through that line. Now that's the high from the political scandal. So it's inching its way back up there again. And I guess they're going to have to do a lot of work to figure out what's going on there. Jar Jar Biggs. Jojo Biden. Yeah, they're kind of related. Let's see. Where do we go from here, traders? Anybody want to see anything particular? Let's go take a look at that minute chart one more time. He asked, why not? Or she asked, why not? I like, anybody asks for something, I like to look at it, see if we can learn something from it. It's still in that slide from there in the 1 minute. It's still holding on. It cannot get the algorithms. I'm running a 3 and a 5 algorithm together. That's what that's all about. That's why you see the different colors and all. Still driving down. Still, slowly leaking. It's like a little leaky rowboat. It's leaking down. All right. Then from there, let's see. What do we do from there? We go to, what was that? The South African rand, right? So from South African rand, we slide over to the Mexican peso. That's what it is. And then we're done the currencies unless someone wants to see something. Let's see. Right there. And peso's been moving up the last couple of days. You see here it's even threatening the 0 line. I'm not sure why the 0 line is solid. It's supposed to be a dot. And it's still underneath it by the hair of its chinny chin chin. And we go like that. And we move that back up. So it's just underneath it. But look, it's come through the time manifold. They're lifting up. And when we go back and look at it further back, you can see it's, it's trying to get back into the range. The real range was here for years, where that, that right there, we Fibonacci'd the range. So it's become a ceiling. It hits it and then falls down. And so we're, now we're at like 1.6 in the Fibonacci sequence, all the way down to there. And it bottomed on the 1.6 part of the Fibonacci sequence. There we are. So save workspace. Maybe it'll keep that little dotted line in there now, Save as. Bingo, bongo, bongo. There we are. All right. Anybody see anything else before we get out of here? I'm trying to think what else we got brewing. Oh, we've seen oil. Oh, let's take a look at nat gas. It's one of my favorites to watch. Oh, let's see silver, too. We didn't even see silver. Let's see what silver's doing. There's silver. You see that pressure on it. pressing down here. And see what the silver's doing over here. Right there. So you can see the pressure on it there. See the pressure on it here. And what else we got to say? It's been in that sell, in the weekly sell. Let's see what Mr. and Mrs. Copper look like. I think they're still in a daily sell, weekly buy. Right there. Yeah, still in that daily sell, and the weekly doesn't seem to be affected by it that much at all. Just hanging out. Just playing with the top part. Now, notice the fast-moving stochastic joined in last week. Broke the manifold there at the beginning of the week. By the end of the week, it was in the sell cleanly. So, it's showing the pressure that's on this product. And then, let's slide over to Nat Gas right there. There's Nat Gas. Just orbiting in the low twos. And $2.50. And let's take a look at it over here on J4X. And you can see right. Where is it at? Right. I don't see it on there. It's there. There it is right there. There's Nat Gas trading at under $2.50. What a slide that's been, huh? And then let's see, as Yano says, I am the big promoter of this Spanish oil company because it's the only thing we can follow. And there it is. It's probably like 26 or 25.99 or something like that. 26.02. All right, 3 ticks off the bottom. Yeah, I mean, in my head, I don't even know what the bottom and low has been in that. But you can see here it's kind of plateaued. They really don't have the heart to sell it down when they should, because I mean, look at American gas. It's gone from 3 3/4, $3.75 a cubic foot down to $2.50 a cubic foot. You would think that's what was that, a 47% drop, something like that? 44% drop. And you would think that this would reflect that more, but they cannot sell down because the demand in Europe is so heavy, Big Guy says, what was the 52 weeks high for Nat Gas? That's a good question. Let's put it up there. So there's Nat Gas. Oh, no, that's the Spanish company. Let's put Nat Gas up there, right there. I would say the 52-week high was like $8 or $9, but it could be even more. So we're in February here. So we want to look at February of 22. There's February. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at it. Yeah, that's what I was saying to Robin when he had run across one of the traders involved in. So the 52 high is right there, I guess you could say. But going back 52 weeks, it was down in this area, and it wasn't rampaging. Obviously because of the invasion in Central Europe from the Ruskies. That's probably the whole circus act of it all in the end. But here, Nat Gas in the United States, it ran to $10 at one point when it was trading at $31 in Europe. But they came to their sanity there. So that's the action we're seeing there. And then when you look at it over here, Nat Gas, same situation. There's the $8 area. This futures contract, I'm not sure if it got up into the 8s. You can see that here. It didn't follow. This is the March contract. So back then they were discounting the contango. They were discounting the back end. So the invasion high is the high. Yeah. If the Europe demand is so high, why is Nat Gas so low in the States here? Because we can supply it. Supply, yeah, exactly, Robin. Supply. We exported. Supposedly, we've exported more oil than ever. Natural gas. We've exported more natural gas than ever before in history to Europe this year, or last year. Now it is. So, I mean, when you're paying $30 and you can pull it out of the ground here for $1 and change, $29, on a dollar investment, even if it's $2 and you're selling it for $30, talk about a win-win, So, All right, traders, I guess it's time to get out of here. This is Doc. Tomorrow is Happy to Hump Day. It's going to be Wednesday. We get closer and closer to the weekend. We do like our weekends. So, talk to you tomorrow. By then, Jojo the Biden will be done yakking away, and Powell had spoken today, and we'll be able to talk about that stuff. But yeah, that I had to start it off with the idea of those zero options are having an influence even more. And I said to you, I found the VIX option or VIX index itself being a lagging indicator, but now they've really squeezed it into being a lagging indicator. So anyhow, this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. Happy trails to you until we meet again Wednesday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Bye-bye for now.